Hello, everybody. My name is Garrett Martin, and today I will be presenting to you about asthma and everyday life. First off, a little bit of a background. I myself am an asthmatic, and I have firsthand experience with both a mucus form of asthma and an exercise induced asthmatic problem. So, starting off there, asthma has two forms. Asthma can be induced by allergies with nasal drip going down into the lungs, or it can be caused by the constricting of your airways, and it's really sometimes painful, and it often causes difficult times breathing, coughing, a wheezing sound that comes from your breath, and it often leaves you short on breath, and, well, yeah. Anyways, for some people, asthma is a minor nuisance and it barely has an effect on their life. For many others, though, it can be a major problem and it can interfere with near daily activities that will most likely put you in a life threatening situation in a hospital. Asthma in of itself cannot be cured, and we don't actually know what has started asthma. In fact, over 3 million Americans are affected yearly by asthma, and this statistic is coming from the Mayo Clinic, or 10% of the world's population is also affected by asthma. This is coming from the Mayo Clinic and the CDC. The causes and the problems that are affected by asthma on a biological level is the fact that we do not know the cause that gives people asthma, but we do know that it can be genetic and it can be passed down from generation to generation. Some of them grow out of it, some of them cannot. But often with asthma, on a biological level, it leads to other illnesses such as vocal cord dysfunction, or it's often linked with allergies, or many others. On an individual level, it can be hard having asthma. It's a burden on one's mental state as well as physical state. On the physical state, you're going to be in pain if there's an asthma attack. An asthma attack is literally the constricting of an airway. So it feels like you're almost have a super tight closing on the chest, and every breath is near painful. And that would also affect one's mental state. As in, why am I like this? I just want to do this without the pain. I want to be normal. I don't want this anymore. And of course, if you are having a near life threatening attack, it will hijack the amygdala and you will have a panic attack. Alright. But on a more interpersonal level, there's no real way to treat asthma. It's mostly just stopping it before it happens. And it's often a burden on the family to buy these products. Such things as inhalers, like this, cost up to $60 without insurance or proper Medicare. There's also sometimes these inhalers don't actually work, and there's other ones that you need to take, like this. This is an experimental one. I can't remember what it's called. It's called combative respumat, and it's actually still in a trial phase. Or if you're in a large, terrible situation, there's such things as in a nebulizer, and these things can cost 120 to up to 200 depending on which model you get. And not even counting the fact that you need to buy doses with it, which is also an economic burden. But anyways, through that, some people cannot actually afford the testing. The testing in of itself is actually rather expensive because it's an observable. Yes, it is an observable, but it could also be a different type of thing called vocal cord dysfunction. Vocal cord dysfunction is actually where the vocal cord starts to clamp up, and it's often thought that it's originally asthma, but in actuality, it's not. So, one of the ways that they test this is they actually get you to run, or they have something trigger your asthma, and then they tape this breath thing to your face, and then they observe it through a breathalyzer. On a community level, during everyday life, and especially in a school setting, it is hard for students with asthma to interact with certain activities, especially physical, or if they have an allergic reaction to molds, or they have an allergic reaction to strong smells that are caused by perfume or things. It's heavily in, asthma is heavily impacted by the environment. Smoke, if it's cold out, if you're walking in from a cold place to a hot place, if you eat something wrong, if you just jog in the hall a little too much, if it's dusty out, all this can trigger an asthma attack. And it's hard for people to understand a disease that even we barely know about. We have no understanding of it or how we actually get it, just clues and guesses and, well, correlations, but correlation is not always causation. As in, for policies, a as people with asthma actually have a good policy plan, 504 plans can protect the rights of those who have problems during school. Like if they miss school days due to an attack or a problem with their health, including asthma, they cannot be penalized for it, and they will be able to catch up and make up with the teacher on a legal level. And this also protects the school because the government actually equips the school with a bill and a nebulizer at the school. So if a student has an attack and doesn't have an inhaler, they are able to use the nebulizer to help out the student. And this is good for students that cannot afford these. And I am glad that this is here. What I would want for a public health solution would be teaching more about common diseases within the American school system at a middle school and a high school level, primarily in a health class. And I don't think that would be much of a problem. The levels of social ecological model targeted individual community and policy, the 504 in of itself is good as is. In a health class, common diseases should also be given at a basic level so that people that cannot visit a doctor, or they don't know that they have it, or that if they have a friend that has it, will have a basic understanding and will be able to help out if there's a problem occurring. um, target target indicators of an intervention, and basic understanding of a common disease at the least average markings. And like, I'm talking about a test here. A basic understanding of a common disease and at least average markings on a student test or at least homework level will show some level of understanding. And yeah, outcomes of the intervention. I hope to see a more basic understanding of common diseases, and it will give students a basic idea and understanding of the struggle that other students have. But a critique of it is, can it even fit into the criteria of the health class? Or would the district even have money to do so? Thank you for tuning in. It's a little long, and goodbye.